Hello. Hello, good morning to one and all. Welcome to the technical session of second day. And today's the topic for our session is precision metrology. Before starting the session, I would like to inform all our visitors or attendee to kindly check your screen. The right side of the video screen, we have option for chat, and just next to that chat there is a section for Q&A. So I request each one of you to kindly post your any queries or question to the Q&A section, and this will be addressed at the end of the presentation. Now moving on to the presentations. So first I'd like to introduce our speakers. So our today's first speaker is Mr. Ravi Kumar sir. I'd like to introduce him. Ravi Kumar Sirige is a meteorologist and industry expert and presently working as consultant in the field of quality management. He had completed his master's in engineering from PSG College of Engineering, Coimbatore, and executive MBA from IIM Bangalore. He started his career as lecturer in Bangalore Institute of Technology and then moved to Central Manufacturing Technology Institute and worked as a scientist for 18 years. Retired as a divisional manager heading the operations of industrial quality solution of Carl Zeiss India, trained at PTB Germany in advanced metrology and certified trainer for Occam courses in India, responsible for establishing centers of excellence in metrology, both in institutes and industry. Expert in providing solutions related to total quality in dimensional, form, surface finish, and gear metrology. Below is the email for Ravi sir, and we will also post his email to the chat box so that people can directly chat with him also. Now, I would like to tell Ravi sir to please share his screen and start the presentation. Sir, please.
Yes. Is my screen visible?
Not yet, sir. Yeah, it is visible, sir. You can maximize it.
Yeah. Right now I have done the maximization.
Sir, full screen you can just.
Yeah. Is it full screen now?
No, sir.
Mhm. Is it visible now?
Not yet, sir. So you can double click to enter full screen mode.
Right now?
It's just writing that started screen sharing, but we cannot see anything.
Mhm. Is it visible?
Not yet, sir. Shall I share, sir?
Yeah, I think if you could start, that would be better.
Yes.
I would just request you to change the slide when I request.
Yeah, no problem, sir. I'll do. Okay, sir.
Yeah, I hope others are able to see this, my screen.
You can start, sir. Right?
Yeah. I'm not able to see the screen. Yeah, okay. Are others able to see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, you can switch on video also.
Video, okay.
Yeah, there is a live session. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Good morning to you all. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. We hope all of you are hale and healthy and doing well in these difficult times. We welcome you for this webinar. It is an honor and a great opportunity for me to be present on this occasion, and I thank CMTI for giving me this opportunity. Today's topic is about the relevance of precision metrology for technological development of a nation. See, today we are talking about metrology and how it can help in development of a nation. Next slide, please. Yeah, when we talk about metrology, we are looking at the science of measurement. Metrology affects all our daily lives. Metrology evolved from art to science. Though we talk about science of measurement, but when it started as an art. Gone are the days when skilled laborers were required to produce parts which can be assembled to get the desired function. This was more of a trial and error method, and skilled workers were responsible for getting the desired assembly. This act was definitely an art, but over a period of time, this art got converted into the science of measurement. Next slide, please. When we look at metrology, we talk about quantification of a parameter in terms of a known unit. This is the definition what we have for metrology. And in order to understand the importance of metrology and its influence on commerce, let us look at a simple example of petroleum products being consumed in India. From the available information, we know that in the year 2019, more than 211 metric tons of petroleum products were consumed in this country, of which around 100 metric tons was diesel and petrol. If we assume that the accuracy of measurement was plus minus 1% of the total volume of petrol and diesel consumed, which is a conservative estimate, we would have got 15,000 crores of money in the zone of uncertainty. If we had not measured that properly, and if we had 1% uncertainty, then we would have lost about 15,000 crores. This is the importance of metrology. Let us take another example of automobile parts manufacture, which is developed to the present stage from where it was 2 decades ago. Industries in India grew from license Raj system to open economy, where we started exporting parts to global players. However, this journey was not smooth. Realization came to the auto producers that quality of the product and sustainability are the two important parameters which are necessary to have global trade. Metrology is associated with the global trade. In the beginning, producers were able to produce quality for a batch, which earned them the order. This joy did not last long as over a period of time, as we could not produce the same quality of goods over a sustained period of time. This led to losing of orders and pay heavy price for having produced poor quality. Automobile industry realized this futility and implemented the techniques which ensured quality and sustainability over a period of time, which automatically brought greater success to the industry. However, we have a long way to go. Next slide, please. When we talk about quality, it is in the eye of the beholder. What is quality? For some, it may be color, it could be price, it could be brand, it could be design, fuel consumption, workmanship, comfort, equipment, so on and so forth. Behind quality, we always have metrology as the science which drives quality. Next slide, please. When we look at metrology, metrology starts with design, planning, production, inspection. Metrology is a part of the total manufacturing system. Here we have two parts for metrology. It is either function-oriented inspection, that means against the drawing, we say yes or no, or production-oriented inspection or measurement, wherein we give a feedback to the manufacturing system to see that it gets corrected if there are some errors, and then we really produce the real quality parts. Metrology provides the quality assurance behind modern day manufacturing processes. It is the science that enables the production lines to produce thousands of identical pieces of sophisticated equipment. Without the standardized parts that metrology enables, mass production and the world would be a very different place. Next slide, please. When we look at the stages of product creation, we start with the design. Next slide. And quality is not just in the quality room, but should be built into the product right from how we design the product, how we ensure the design is strong. Next slide, please. Next slide. The nominal geometry is the one what a designer would perceive. How we ensure the design is strong, how can be produced effectively, and how the equipment and software are suitable to produce the product consistently. Our interest is from the design state to the inspection, the product creation takes different shapes. Next slide, please. Sorry, previous slide. Sorry. It has got real geometry. We start with nominal geometry, but in the real geometry, we feel that the errors of the machine will also come into picture. And though the designer had a nominal geometry, our real geometry is going to be totally different. Next slide, please. The extracted geometry and finally the inspection are the ones which are going to the previous one. Yeah. Now today we are looking at metrology The origins of metrology, let us look at the origins of metrology, which go back to the earliest traders whose instruments of exchange were gold coins and the beam balance. Of course, even today we have problem with the quality of gold in our country. However, the beam balance, which was in the hands of the merchants, have been taken over by electronics, and electronic beam balances will give us the assurance that we get the right quantity. However, when barter trade could not have taken us to this position of global trade, we started with the barter trade, but barter trade would not have taken us to this modern position of trade as a global trade. We do not worry about the fluctuations in the value of rates of exchange today between the units of measurement, as we now have an agreed and stable system of units of measurement, which is recognized worldwide. And this has been ensured by National Physical Laboratory in India, which was established in the year 1947. That was almost at the stage where we got our independence, and came into operation in the year 1950. As a country, we realized that metrology is the driver for global trade and commerce, and that is how this National Physical Laboratory, which are the custodians of the units, standards, are being established in India. Next slide, please. You see NPL, which is in Delhi, which are the custodians of all our standards. They start with, they are the custodians of our SI units of measurement. SI units would automatically mean that international system of units. The next slide is over the traceability of units at national or international standards. The one what you see on the right side is the traceability pyramid. There are two things which are important for metrology to survive. One are the units. We defined that units and the parameter measurement is very important. And in order to realize these units, we have to have the traceability pyramid, which starts from NPL, and NPL in turn will be associated with the global. And from there, we have our secondary standards, reference standards, working standards, and measuring instruments, which are derived, so that we ensure that whatever we measure today in India is the same what we measure elsewhere in the world. Next slide, please. Here we have the units which are taken in measuring physical quantities, which are collectively called as SI units. For engineering metrologists, we talk about length as our parameter of measurement. Of course, that is related to time. And there are other parameters or the units which are important: a mole for matter, kg for mass, CD for luminous intensity, temperature, intensity. These are the 7 parameters which are the units which we get derived from, let us say, length. It is derived from speed of light, whereas the time is measured in terms of the cesium clock splitting frequency. Similarly, NPL maintains all these 7 standards and the units, and from there we derive all our units. Next slide, please. 1 minute. So when we look at the length, how do we define length? Length is the meter, the distance traveled by light in vacuum during 1/299,792,458 of a second. Even though we want to measure length, which is, I mean, we will discuss about the parameters, what is needed to be recognized as a unit. For engineering community, meter is the basic unit which we try to measure, and we derive lot many things out of length. But the length is measured in terms of light in vacuum, in terms of 1 by 29978792458 of a second. When we look at that units which are taken as measuring physical quantities, the units chosen must have following qualities. It must have a suitable size. Here it is a meter. It should have been accurately defined. We have the definition in terms of time. It must have an easy access. It must be time independent. That means the length, what I defined 20 years back and what I defined today should not vary. We had our standards which were varying. Because of that, those standards have been taken out, like Krypton and things like that. We have material standards also. But today, we are defining the time because time is independent and it should be repeatable. And when I say length, length is related also to time. Recently, our Prime Minister Modi delivered an inaugural address at National Meteorology Conclave on January 4th, 2021, wherein he defined India now has the capability to measure time with less than 2.8 nanoseconds accuracy. This is one great development, what we have in this country. This was only possible in January 4, 2021. However, if you look at the accuracy of time at NIST, which is 0.05 nanoseconds per year, whereas in India, we have an uncertainty of 2.8 nanoseconds accuracy per year. However, if you look at the development of time, which is very important for us to have a real global trade and global measurement, today in NIST, we are trying to look at an atomic clock, which is accurate to 6.66 e to the power of -10 of a second per year. This is so accurate that it would not have gained or lost a second if the clock had started running at the dawn of the universe. So we have to have units which does not change over time, which is repeatable, and which should be possible to be brought down to the shop floor. I think these are the two essential things which is needed for us to have a global trade. Next slide, please. Let us look at some of the developments which happened with metrology. We start with a cast iron surface plate, which is called the datum. The first development of metrology was that of a datum surface created by cast iron surface plates. There were some limitations of cast iron surface plates. Then we moved over to granite. Why I have put this slide is because in India, CMDA was the one which propagated this granite surface plates, manufacture and measurement methodology. You can see an investigation of granite as a material for metrology aids in SIRP annals in 1978 by Mr. Abdin, Shanai, and Vishweshwaran, who presented this paper. And this was the turning point for metrology in India, wherein people started to produce these datums. CMDA played a role in really dissipating this knowledge to the industries. Next slide, please. Let us look at the three major inventions which happened in metrology. One was the datum, which was very much necessary for any measurement to happen. And the next real invention was that of gauge blocks. When we look at gauge blocks, it is one which was produced by C.E. Johansson, wherein we are able to measure from 0.5 up to 200 mm in steps of 1 micron with a gauge block set of about maybe 122 blocks. Per mm, we have to have units of 1000 because every micron, if 1 mm has got about 1000 microns, if we want to build that, it was just not possible to have an artifact. We know that the light is going to be measured in vacuum in a time interval. But what is the material standard which brings it back to the shop floor? It is this gauge blocks which are used as a standards which brought this unit back to the shop floor. And CMTI introduced calibration of slip gauges by comparative methods, and now calibrates by interferometric method also. Of course, when you look at the interferometric method, it automatically gives you lower uncertainty and high traceability. This is where gauge blocks were the ones which changed the method of measurements, and metrology had an invention. The next invention was a laser interferometer. Laser interferometer really revolutionized the measurements. It is almost called a secondary standard. This is a major invention which helped metrologists to introduce wavelength standard to calibrate machine tools and measuring machines as a secondary standards in the shop floor. When you look at laser interferometer, it was possible that we could measure all the 5 degrees of freedom of a slide. When you have a single slide, you have 6 degrees of freedom. Out of that, 5 degrees of freedom could be measured with a laser interferometer. This was introduced by HP, Hewlett Packard, and they had a patent. Because of that, nobody else could really manufacture this laser interferometer. Maybe 30 years back, laser interferometer was introduced by CMTI to machine tool industry and dissipated the knowledge, what it gained in really using this laser interferometer for measurements and bringing a secondary standard to the shop floor. I think this was one of the primary role what CMTA played in acquiring the knowledge and dissipating the knowledge to the industries. The third significant invention was that of coordinate metrology. Introduction of coordinate measuring machines was one more significant invention which changed the way we measure the components. It is possible that all the parameters what is required to be measured, like length, form, position, and today even surface finish, everything can be measured by a single machine. This is the great achievement, and this really made way for producing components at shop floor and really integrating the coordinate metrology into shop floor so that we were able to produce good quality. CMTA spread the knowledge of CMMs by organizing seminars and workshops to the industries and laboratories. And today, I think most of the industries have accepted all these 3 inventions, and CMTA played a major role in dissipating the knowledge. Next slide, please. One is about the inventions, what happened. The other thing we need is a good environmental condition. People may be wondering why environmental conditions are necessary. Think of the position 30 years back when CMTA decided that they would like to have a laboratory which is underground and which is devoid of all these variations. For a good measurement to happen, we need to have a temperature which is internationally accepted as 20 plus minus 1, temperature gradients we want to control, relative humidity, illumination level, acoustic level, power supply, shock and vibration level, and proper earth. You should appreciate the people who are working at CMTA had the vision my great guru, Mr. Abdin, had this idea of taking metrology lab underground. This was his brilliant idea. When I started my career at CMTA, I never knew why you need to take a lab underground. He taught me that if you want to have a stable condition of temperature, measurement of temperature is nothing but measurement of length. If you want to have a stable conditions of temperature, then you have to go below the earth, maybe 2 meters below the earth. Anywhere in the world, the temperature is constant. I think this was a fundamental aspect which people realized in CMTI. And today, nanotechnology, if you don't have a good environmental condition, nanotechnology would not work. Yesterday, a lot of people were talking about nanotechnology, and everyone felt that if you want to achieve nano measurements, you need to have a good environmental conditions. Next slide, please. Yeah, today environmental conditions of precision metrology laboratory. I think there are two laboratories. One is about 6 meters below, and the other one is 10 meters below. However, the importance is we have a laboratory wherein you have very good conditions for measurement, metrology to flourish, and a good manufacturing setup for nanotechnology. These are the things which really happens. If you don't have a good measurement lab, it is not possible that with just good measuring instrument, it is not possible to do a measurement. Better equipment alone does not ensure good accuracy and repeatable measurements. I just have to narrate one of my experience during my CMTA days, where we bought a high accuracy autocolorimeter for measuring angles of 0.001 degree resolution. However, this equipment could not be put to use as the air drift in the laboratory, the old laboratory at that point of time, made the readings roll in the autocolorimeter to a level of plus minus 0.02 degrees. You have the best equipment. If you don't have the best environmental condition, it is not possible to do any useful measurement. Unless stable measurement conditions are provided, it is not possible to achieve the desired accuracy and repeatability. Next slide, please. I think I will skip the next slide. And so today, if you look at the future, we need to look at the X-rays as a future methodology for measurement. Next slide, please. You see that there is an X-ray, there is a positioning system and a detector, which is possible to measure both inside and outside. This is almost like a new invention, which is in the hands of metrologists to really utilize that and really make use of this technology for actual measurement. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, today we have both inside and outside measurements possible to be measured by using X-ray. Here, this is a picture which shows the porosity of a component, and it also gives you the dimensions. It can measure crack and most of the parameters what is needed. Next slide, please. And going forward, today Industry 4 is the integration of quality into manufacturing system. Products are no longer manufactured in a central location. It is manufactured all over the globe. You need to have traceability, large quantity of data. You have to analyze this data and try to take corrective actions. I think today it is all about data, connected machines with communications to manufacturing machines, and data shared between different systems like design, supply chain, vendors, dispatch section, and optimizing all this and making good decisions are possible only when data gets integrated into the manufacturing system. Next slide, please. Here you see that machines, next slide, a variety of data formats are supported. Next slide, please. A PDF protocols are cut. Most of the machines, manufacturing machines, measuring machines, all are collecting the data. And these collected data are then analyzed and fed back so that we have a better system for manufacture. Next slide, please. Now you see a new trend. These are called connected platforms. Here we try to say Apple, Facebook, Ola, Airbnb, all these things are possible to be on a common platform. They are created platforms which help others to pitch in and offer customer a different experience. Next slide, please. Here, the connected platforms combine core components made by one company, usually made by a variety of companies, and then complements usually made by variety of components by other companies. Companies supplying complementary products and services, they can together form an ecosystem which helps the total quality system to be more adaptable. Next slide, please. Now today, product is largely proprietary, which cannot be going forward and under one company's control. However, an industry platform is a foundation technology or service that is essential for a broader independent ecosystem of business. The platform requires complementary innovations, and all these innovations will make the total system a success. Next slide, please. However, when we look at the trends of metrology, accuracy improvement and measurement uncertainty reduction would continue to dominate metrology. Miniaturization and non-contact measurement will be the future. Shop floor integration, automation of measurements, and process control are going to be important. Traceability and alignment to national and international standards play an important role. Alignment with global standards and data integrated measurements will dominate. And this is the future for any nation to adapt so that they get integrated into a global trade systems. Thank you. Next slide, please. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity. Thanks, CMTA. Hello.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for your nice presentation. And thank you, sir. Now we'll move to our second speaker. And 1 minute, I'll just. Yeah, so let me introduce our second speaker, Mr. K. Niranjan Reddy. He is graduated in mechanical engineering from Kakatiya University, Warangal, Telangana, and having 26 years of professional experience in the field of precision nanometrology, precision nanomanufacturing, and ultra precision engineering. He is currently holding the post of Scientist E and Group Head, Precision Metrology at Central Manufacturing Technology Institute, Bangalore. He is the Quality Manager of Metrology Laboratory of CMTI, and he is also an NABL assessor in the field of mechanical dimension. His area of research includes development of thin film coating using PECVD technology. He is a faculty member of CMTI for training programs in the area of metrology, quality management system, etc. He is a visionary leader for manufacturing VLFM of batch 10 2016-17 jointly organized by CII and JICA. He has presented or published 25 papers in various national international conferences or journal. His email ID is niranjan@cmti.rec.in. We'll put the same to the chat box. Now I request Niranjan Reddy sir to please present.
Yeah, thank you, Kushbu, for the introduction. Just a minute, I will share my screen.
Sir, you can just adjust your camera.
Not visible?
Yeah, now okay, sir.
And I'm just trying to share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. You can make it full screen, sir.
Yeah, I will do it. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Kushbu, for the brief introduction. And I thank Sri S.N. Ravi Kumar. He is the ex-CMTA scientist. And also we, as he said about the vision of our retired Joint Director, Abdeen, and Jayaraman, and head B.N. Taranath, where we realized this precision metrology laboratory, I think this has been emphasized 30 years back, which we say these things. So when I joined, we moved to this new building, which have the 6 meters below the ground level. So the picture what you see here, it is the 6 meters below the ground level. That means it is around 20 feet from the ground level. So I think Sri S.N. Ravi Kumar has set a very clear path to me. I think most of the precision metrology is covered. But anyway, I try to do a little bit more as such these things, being a introduction session. So we always say, if you measure, do it with utmost care and remember the measuring errors. As earlier speaker was saying, how the environmental parameters are required to realize the fine measurements, fine in the sense precision measurements, in the sense the measurements in the order of sub-micrometer, nanometer level. You need to, if you want to realize that unit of measurements, I think he has given a very good example of high precision autocollimeter, which was having the resolutions of in the order of 0.005 R seconds. As the environmental is not stable, we could not realize the measurement to that level. In the sense, you need to understand what are the measurement errors which are going to associate in a process measurement system. So this helps to bring out the valid measurements. And also we say, do it with utmost care. This is very important as such, this thing. So it is the one, where the inspector or measurement inspector who gives the result, it is the final decision. So if you take a person which goes for some diagnostic services, like any of the measurements, like any go for the blood checkups or CT scanners kind of things, the person who measures makes important, because the decisions are taken based on the measurements which are received it. Any doctor, if you see here, doctor, he may see only the report. Based on the report, he take the judgment. So similarly, the inspection report issued with the parts makes the judgment to take a decision to accept or not. If the measurements are not done properly, which creates a problem. Some cases, maybe we may be accepting the bad part as such, this thing, because of the measurement errors. So as I said, metrology is basically two Greek words. So one is the metro and logy. These are the things. Metro is measurement, logy is the science. So metrology is the science of measurements, right? How old it is, if you think? This has it started new or recent? I think you can see that earlier speaker, India recognized these metrological requirements and started a national lab, or NPL, New Delhi in 1947. So that means the country is focusing to this metrological requirements, such these things. But if you think how old it is, when did it start this metrology? When it has been coming to this? It is not today's. It is from before Christ, 2750 before Christ. You can see it is the ancient times itself. It's metrology in place. I think you surprised to see the unit which was used as a cubit, still today we use this. I think if you say, what is this, the cubit? Cubit is our forearm distance. Cubit is the forearm distance. So when come to the, when do you see? I think if you go to the market today also you find this cubit. So where do you see? If you go to market, I think if you go to a flower market, basically, where the garland, the flowers, which are measured with cubit, that means forearm, you may surprised to see the cubit length is changing, depends upon the person, right? Taller person will have a bigger forearm. I think there is a study, it is around 65 centimeters or kind of things. I think there is a 65 centimeters difference between the taller and shorter person. Of course, average the height of the persons if you take, that means smaller person is having a small cubit length. So then people thought at the time, whose length to be taken as this cubit? So, and it is decided who were the rulers of the kings at the time, because kings were rulers, right? So everybody has to follow the king. So is whoever the current ruler is forearm length considered as the standardization. I think that what the word we are using, traceability, where we are relating our measurements to the fundamental units. Similarly, people thought about this standardization or traceability, what we call today, they standardized the measurements to the rulers of the kingdom. So there were other units also before this, volume-based food, which are being measured. But the why importance has come for cubit is because people thought of standardization and all the olden days as such these things. That is the reason this people started calling as this first unit of measurement. Of course, there are other, as I said, there are different units of measurements earlier also. So, another, I think recently we had a World Meteorology Day on 20th May. So we celebrate 20th May as the World Meteorology Day. So there is called Meter Convention. So on 20th May 1875, there are 17 nations which have come to the decision to have a use of common unit of measurements, common SI units of measurements. So which makes because otherwise everybody using different conventions, different type of measurements, people are using it. So then they come to decision to use of commonality of SI unit of measurements in 1875. So that this day considered to the World Meteorology Day, and today we are celebrating this every year of this May 20th World Meteorology Day. So how this, I think area speaker also explained, the meter is currently defined as the length of the path traveled by a light in a vacuum in so and so time, right? Basically, it used a physical standard prototype meter bar, and we are moved to the light-based standard in 1983. So if you see precision, I think as our lecture mainly focus on precision, how this journey started. What is precision, right? Because it is new. It's not so new. You can see in 1775, there is a French engineer Wilkinson, he machined a bore of 1.8 meters to a 1 millimeter accuracy. It found to be very good, as if you feel it is a very big size. If you think that 1.8 meters is a very big size, and he machined to the 1 millimeter accuracy, and the performance of steam engines, which are used in the locomotives, improved very well. So then people thought, trying to improve the precision. So everybody tries, every design engineer expects to improve its requirements. I think today's people are talking about the precision level to the micron, submicron, and there are some parameters to the nanometer kind of things as such as things. So that means we are trying to improve the accuracy requirements by stage. So you can see this chart shows how the accuracies are changing, right? So accuracies which were in the order of 100 micrometers in 1900, which are coming up to close. Zero in the sense may not be zero. It is in the sense of micron, submicron, nanometers. And you can see the other axis, which shows about grades, IT grades. We are going to basically this is the IT1, IT2 and all the gauge tolerances. So if you see, the part tolerances are also coming to the level of gauge tolerances, right? Why it is happening? Why designers are expecting higher accuracies? If you think of, right? I think today world, everybody expect the greater accuracy, high performance, high efficiency systems, high repeatability systems. These are where we have the market only for the high efficiency systems, right? So everybody trying to improve the efficiency of the systems by controlling the part accuracies requirements. Of course, you need to control the accuracy where is required only, because as all of us know, the manufacturing cost will increase tremendously when you go to the gauge tolerance levels. So you need to judicially take a decision how these accuracies are required in your component product usage as such these things. So we are talking about micron, because in the dimensional metrology, as I said, we are going to the micron, submicron, and also nanometer. How small? You may have the doubt. So you assume, I think generally we feel human hair is small, right? So assume human hair is this much size, which is 50 microns, the dot which represents is micrometer. Again, 1000 of part is nanometer. So as you have seen the first slide, if you want to realize this unit of measurements into the levels of magnitudes of measurements to the micron, submicron, nanometer, so you should be more cautious. You need to have more appropriate measurement systems as such these things. So generally we feel human hair is itself small, but micron you can see how small it is. So similarly, I think this shows about the dimensions of scale. Again, it gives a representation of how the scale of, you can see the scales. Humans are the their sizes are in meters, hands are in centimeters, and hairs are in the order of 50 micrometers, as I say. And you can see current pandemic, COVID virus, which is in the order of 60 to 140 nanometers. So it is similar, it is other things which are in the hemoglobin and other things to the nanometer and angstrom. So this shows about how the scale it is. So we are working from the meter to the submicron, nanometers kind of things in a dimensional metrology. Similarly, there is we are discussed in the autocollimeter. It is a finest angle measuring device. So where it can measure to the sub-arc second level, I think 0.001 arc seconds it can measure. So how small this arc second? Similar to the what we have seen, similar to the what we have seen for the micrometer. where we are compared with the human hair. Assume, take a human hair, of which is of 50 micrometers, keep it a distance of 10 meters. The angle it subtends, it is 1 arcsecond. So in the sense, similar to the micrometer, arcsecond also, there is a fine magnitude of measurements. So we need to have a better measurement system to have these things. So what is the goal of metrology? We said the metrology is the science of measurement. Why we are going to use? So as I said, we need to accept good products, reject bad products. So if by considering the life criticality or criticality nature of their job, it's better to reject few good ones rather than to accept few bad ones. So this metrology was classified into different domains. It can be dimension, mass, force, electricity, electrical parameters, electrotechnical. There are various metrology classifications are there. Today's we are focusing on the dimension. So dimensions, we focus on the linear measurements, angular measurements, form, gear, and roughness measurements. These are of the basic of all these measurements of this thing. So what it is doing when you say the dimensional metrology? I think all of us know every part is defined with the features. The features will have dimensions, and these dimensions are having tolerances. So the tolerances can be linear, angular, and form kind of things, form and roughness kind of things. So it is the process of determining how extent these parameters or feature parameters are meeting the requirements. So basically we can say that verify the agreement of the product with the design specifications. So designer has given some requirements in a drawing based on the functional requirements. So it is the duty of metrologists to verify whether the part meets the required specifications. Right. So something like a judicial system, you can say. We can say something like a judicial metrology is placed, something like a judicial system in a manufacturing engineering, manufacturing process. The parts produced by a manufacturing production system were verified by a metrology as such these things for its. So we ensure, we feel if it is meeting the requirements of design parameters, it is going to work as per the expected functional requirements. We'll see some of the basic terminologies. So resolution is the smallest measurable, smallest value that can be indicated by a displaying device. So it will be basically for the digital systems. And analog systems, smallest difference between indication of displaying device. You can see these graduations. How small we can measure. Basically, resolution is the how small we can measure. I think there is a misconception in the industry. If you ask somebody in a shop floor, when the instrument used, say, example, we take a micrometer, which having the resolution of 10 micrometer. If we ask a person who is measuring, what is the accuracy of measurement? He says, it is 10 microns because it is the smallest measurable quantity was 10 micrometers. That's the reason he says 10 microns, but it's not true. So the resolution and accuracies are different. So accuracy is the closeness of agreement between the result of measurement and true value. How close you are measuring to the true value, that is the accuracy. How close you are going to measure this. So that is the reason always, generally, accuracies are coarser than the resolution. I think today's world, today's digitization, the resolutions are made to the finest value because electronically they divide. So you need to more focus on what is its accuracy rather than resolution. So all of you, when you use any instrument, please focus on what is the accuracy of it. It is its instruments. And another term we call is precision. Assume you measure some different readings. Assume you take readings of few readings. I mean, you try to take around 5 to 10 readings. So the readings will not be same. They change because of the measurement system. So how close they are, repeating. So precision we can also call as a repeatability, right? So there is another word which is called as a, we'll come back to this, there is a reproducibility. This is also same as repeatability, but there is a difference. So what we call precision is under identical conditions. Under identical conditions. So in the sense, if you measure number of repeated readings in successive readings, what is under the identical conditions, short interval of time, same person, same instrument, how things are changing. So, okay. So this gives the graphical requirement. How this is our target. Hitting this target, you can see these are all are close to the target and they are repeatable. This is highly accurate, highly precision system. In this case, these are away from target, but they are repeatable. That means this is a precision. There is a precision, but there is no accuracy. This case does not have precision, does not have accuracy. Any measurement system should have a highly accurate, highly precision system. The systems can be, at least should have a highly repeatable system, which we can compensate to bring to improve its accuracy. If a system does not have a repeatability, we cannot do anything because it is not possible to compensate. In today's technology, people try to compensate this, which are having the highly repeatable systems. So that means have a highly repeatable systems and with some techniques compensate them and have an entire measurement system to be highly accurate and highly precision system. So as I said, precision is the under identical conditions and reproducibility is the different conditions. It is not that today part meets or measurements meets. If you measure today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, how they are changing. So I think we should aim for better reproducible system. So it gives a more confidence, more functionality, more product efficiency. So people should focus from the repeatable system to the reproducible system as such, this thing, which take care of all the conditions as such. Another important point, reliability. As I said, the reliability is the ability to perform its function for stated period. So you need to specify a reliability of the part per particular product, right? It is up to you to specify. So in the sense, the part which does not have reliability cannot sustain in the market. So people expect. So if you say this, I think if you take example of smartphone. So if you say manufacturer, if you use properly, it can work for 3 years. So the customer who buys this smartphone, he knows after 3 years has to change. So that means working beyond 3 years, it gives more satisfaction. But if it doesn't work, this 3 years of period, you will not be having a satisfaction. Minimum requirement, the stated reliability period, it has to meet, right? It has to meet the stated reliability period, by which you get 100% satisfied, and products which have the reliability can only survive and they can have the marketability as such, this thing. Poor reliable product, you may buy at a first instance, but you cannot resell it. So that's the reason you need to have a reliability. Yes. So another thing is traceability. Any measurement which does not have traceable, like what you said, when you're saying the qubit is traceable to King's, right? So if any measurement does not have a traceability, does not have any meaning. Does not have any meaning, as today's globalization, the parts measured across the globe should meet the requirements. So the concept of this, how this traceability has to be built, we see this thing. I think the earlier speaker was showing every national lab will have SI units of measurements, by which you can build the traceability. So there is a material measure, a physical property, which defines reproducible unit of measurement for base or derived quantity. We'll see there are various standards fundamental or absolute standard, international standard, national standard, reference standard, secondary working standard. These are different measurement standards used in the industry. This is the ultimate. So all our measurements to be traceable to the fundamental unit. So nothing beyond this. As we have seen, kings were rulers. So based on the fundamental, we are all our measurements, something like kings here. So it is a scientific era. We are relating all our measurements to the fundamental units. So what is the fundamental units? Established without resource to another standard. So something like a meter definition, what you have done, it is called a fundamental unit. Meter definition, nothing. So in the way, so because the light which is taken, light and time, the light which having a particular frequency or a particular wavelength which is traveled in the light, we consider as this thing. This is our fundamental unit here. And other case, physical properties, of course, this is changed now. We used to have a prototype of kilogram, and now it is moved to the Krypton-based, Planck's constant. It is moved to Planck's constant, similar to our length standard to the meter definition. The kilogram also recently moved to the based on the Planck's constant. So, and every country, as I said, our national lab, NPL India, maintains all SI units of measurements. So this is, they call as a national or primary standards. If there is a lab, best available local standard is a reference standard. Using reference standard, we build the secondary and working standards. So this is a typical traceability chart. So we are measuring here, assume we are measuring to the vernier, where we are using it to do the measurements. These vernier checked for its accuracy using a slip gauges. These slip gauges are verified using comparators. And again, these slip gauges, there are different grades of slip gauges. So the higher grade, grade 00, compared with a light interferometry systems. So this light, the lasers are calibrated with another light. So that means so our definition of meter of light, which is being built into the measurement when you are doing the vernier at this stage. So that means, so we are establishing the traceability by verifying a process of accuracy verification of a vernier by a process called calibration. So that means every instrument to be used is to be calibrated. So when it is calibrated, it is ensured to maintain traceability requirements. This is a typical length traceability maintenance at CMTI. You can see typically here the metrology equipment and machine tools. So where we are using the CMM measurements. CMM measurements are used with the step gauges. These step gauges are calibrated using a, of course, you can go to national lab also, or we can go to international lab also. CMTI maintains both. There are some of the traceability to national lab and some of the traceability to the international traceability. So again, this international labs or national labs, they will maintain to the SI unit of measurements where we have the fundamental unit of measurements as such. So this is the typical length measurement receipt. So in the sense, whenever you want the instrument to be used, it should be calibrated. When you have to be calibrated, you need to ensure, please get the calibrated from an accredited laboratory. So in India, there is a board called NABL, National Accreditation Board for Calibration Testing Laboratories, which gives the accreditation to the laboratories based on ISO IEC 17025. So by which you can ensure the traceability of measurements on all your fields as such. So another point, how the factors are affecting the accuracy measurement. So as I said, if you repeat the measurements 10 times, you may see different readings. Why it is happening? So it is basically because of the measurement system. We can classify them as a swipe, because there are errors associated with a standard, work, instrument, person, environment. It is called swipe. So as I said, earlier speaker was saying about the requirements. Basically, we need to have the proper environmental controls in dimensional metrology, temperature, humidity, vibration levels, dust, and other things. These are the requirements. And some of other accuracy of measurements is the Abe's principle. So I think Abe is the scientist who come out with a concept, your measurement axis, reading axis to be collinear to improve its accuracy. So we call it Abe's principle. So micrometer follows the Abe's principle. And mode of supports are very much important. There are called airy points and bezel points. If you want ends to be straight, then you should need to support them at airy point of 0.5577 L. And in case of deflection to be minimum, you need to have a support at the bezel points of 0.559. So this is the precision center at CMTA, which was built around 25 years back. So this is the lab, which is underground lab, which is having the 6 meters below the ground level. And as we have seen, these are the conditions: 20 plus minus 0.5, vibration level 0.2. And it is the first few laboratories in the country to get accreditation. And we measure the form, surface texture, and other things. And it is, there are various dimensional metrology instruments, absolute and instruments which are absolute and comparators based, gauges, measuring aids, artifacts, measuring machines. And what is happening? What is trends are happening in accuracy of or uncertainty of length measurement? One side, the size of the parts are coming up down and down. One side, the larger parts, the accuracy demands are increasing it. One side, sizes are coming out down. One side, accuracies are also important. When size coming out down also, the uncertainty or accuracy requirements also coming down. To match this, there are machines, ultra precision coordinate measuring machines, which are for the small size micro components. The machines which are required to the small part measurements, micro component family. You can see this is the Styli. I think I have other picture. There are systems which comes with a small probe. You can see this probe down to the 120 micron. This is a CMM, world's best accurate CMM, the accuracy of 0.25 plus L by 666. And also it have a dual probe system with a tactile and optic systems. So to meet the smaller micro component, this is the development. And this is a small, there's a probe head system. And to meet the higher side, big components, there are laser trackers and scanners which are coming up, which to meet the requirement of the bigger size of components as such this thing. So this is the typical dimensional metrology at CMTI. Like we have a ultra precision CMM and we have a coordinate measuring machine. Another, is this for regular this thing? Shortly we'll be adding up a new coordinate measuring machine also as such this thing, which is the finer uncertainty of measurements in the order of 0.5. So this is the interferometry system, which is used for the calibration of gauge blocks. So I think this is the second system in the country. We have this gauge block interferometry system. And for the measurement of form, we have a form tester, which measures the all form. That means when you say form, it's circularity, straightness, cylindricity, and other things. And this is for the roughness measurements. This is for the optical focal error for non-contact measurements. This is for the form errors of based on the interferometry. And artifacts. So I think in calibration, these artifacts are important. So CMTA made an effort to develop these artifacts. They are the glass scales, which are having a particular gratings. And these are used for the qualification of the optical measuring instruments. And these gratings are of the accuracy in the order of 1 micrometer. And we have transferred this technology to the one of the industry as well. So there are actors of linear and we have the graticles also as such. So this is one of the product from the CMTA in the artifact development. So what is happening? So how this thing forces the future of metrology is changing. People are trying to use AR and virtual realities to this Internet of Things. And there are inline inspections and in-process inspections, which will be the future of metrology as such. So that is what we might have seen. So there is a Industry 4.0, So to match this industry 4.0, so there are there are systems which are coming to the metrology 4.0 or a quality system 4.0, people talking into different words. The whole idea is you need to capture the data, reliable data, and process this data and take decisions. And during this process of looping, so the final aim is to have a zero defect product. So all things what we are doing, final aim is to have a zero defect products. And in this industry 4.0 or metrology 4.0, there are shifts, mega shifts. You can see the fixturing systems are changing from dedicated fixtures to the modular fixtures, laboratory inspection to the inline inspections. And this industry 4.0, there is a lot of penetration of optical metrology. I think this is going to dominate. Of course, only issue is its accuracies, but the accuracy requirements are changing. Accuracy requirements are changing to finer and finer. So by which I think in future, we may move to the tactile to the optical metrology as such this thing. That is a new trend what we are observing. And also smart metrology, you can see there are various instrument, manual, CMMs, other instruments. And there is called, when you give the software to this drawing, it gives the auto ballooning. Used on the auto ballooning, it gives what are the parameters to be measured. And we can assign what instrument to be measured, and we can get a data, and you can get a statistical quality parameters to this thing. So this will be the future of smart metrology lab as such this thing. So with that, CMTI is, as I said, accredited laboratory from NABL to the form, roughness, linear and angular measurements. So you can contact metrology lab at cmti.res.in for any of your requirements. So thank you. I've done this.
Thank you so much, sir, for your detailed presentation on basic of metrology, smart metrology, as well as for the future of metrology. Sir, we have one question for, I think, Ravi Kumar sir,
Yes.
which is posted by our Joint Director Balashanmugam sir.
Right.
So he'd like to ask whether this X-ray system, since it is costly, how do you see the price can come down in the future?
Yeah, sir, there are systems which are now, you can see in the market, there are less priced systems also. It is, initial systems were expensive, but there is a price which are coming. I think Ravi Kumar sir is there.
Ravi Kumar. Yeah, he is there, sir.
Yeah. I think Ravi Kumar sir can tell, I think, the price reduction which is happening in the market.
Definitely, when you come out with a new technology, you always have limited producers and things like that. It also happened with laser interferometer. So, but over a period of time, when you start using these inventions, I would say, then there is volume which is going to be up. And when you have a higher volume, the costs are going to come down. Definitely, there is always a line which separates what accuracy you need, what parameters you want to measure, to what level you want to measure. That decides the price. Actually, when you look at X-rays, you start with the 2D X-ray, and now you start with the 3D X-ray, which is called a CT. Now you go for integrated systems of X-rays being used in the manufacturing. And you also want X-ray measurements to be at the level of nanos. See, now you have, say, one thing is you have a invention which helps people to use that, but the cost will come down only when the volume will get increased.
I think it is a new market. I think we need to introduce to the market, which are basically, I think there is a limited people which are using the city things. I think CMT also trying to establish this facility.
But the future is only X-ray, I think.
True, sir. We understand this.
Be clear.
Yes. I think that is the reason it is there in our plan to have the CT system. And actually, as sir said, it depends upon what power you want, what is the depth of penetration, what is the accuracy. Similarly, if you say CMMs, you can get a CMM from 30 lakhs to the 5 crores. So you need to see what you are looking at. So that is the whole idea. Similarly, the prices will change for CTs also as such.
Now, I mean, I can share one of the developments, what happened with my old organization, Zeiss.
Yes,
I
sir.
think Mr. Reddy said that you have a beautiful nano measuring system of a coordinate measuring machine, which is for 100 by 100 by 100 with
True.
a resolution of nanometers and all. Even Zeiss could not sustain. We did produce that machine, and there are only limited people who can buy that machine. I mean, the cost of the machine is so high, and even people in Zeiss could not produce that machine over a period of time. Now that machine is actually not being produced by Zeiss now. But you should understand that this machine, which has been there working from last 12 years without stopping, and actually we didn't even do the service of that machine.
Right.
That's the reliability with which you try to look at the machines which are produced.
True, sir. As we said in the thing, reliability is the important to have a resell. If you want to be sustain in the market, you need to be a reliable product. Otherwise, you cannot never sustain as such these things.
That is true.
I think, thank you very much, sir. I think our session, we are closing it.
We have one more question
Please.
from Balvinder Kumar. So he's asking how we can measure spiral groove profile depth of cut, say 1 mm by 1 mm on a spiral or cylindrical job.
We can do with the contour tester. We can measure the things. For the there are different scanning techniques, because if you want to take there are scanners which are available for the, if you want for the mapping also. Otherwise, one dimensional we can do it a contour tester system. But if you want along the spiral, then you need to have a different scanning systems.
Secondly, is asking how we can measure inside dimension of object created using 3D printing.
X-ray could be one of the methods. X-ray tomography, CT.
Yes. So CT is one of the tools used in the additive manufacturing nowadays, these things. So they say, I think people are trying to, I think people claims now CT scanners can use the for the AM process quality inspection. That is also is there. And if you want other methods, you need to see the feature reachable, how whether it's reachable or not. That is one of the things. That is the main aspect. The whole size should be bigger to have any sensor to go inside this. So it depends upon the size of the part.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will consolidate it, and yeah. Thank you, Ravi Kumar sir. Thank you, Niranjan Reddy sir, for this wonderful session. And I think now our next session is on textile machinery, and that will start at 11 a.m.
Right.
And that will be coordinated by Sharvanan. So we'll break now and we'll start at 11 a.m.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.